Hey everyone, welcome to Get Busy Watching! I'm your host, Honest Dan. Let's talk movies. Welcome to my rapid fire action and thriller edition. Let's get started. This South Korean action flick is about BOKSOON, a world-class assassin as well as a mother to a teen daughter. After refusing to go through with a contract, her organization puts a hit on her. I'm probably making this sound like it's a South Korean version of John Wick. It's really not. It certainly hits similar beats, but it truly is its own thing and is really good. About the only things it has in common with John Wick is that BOKSOON works for an organized assassins group, right down to the code words and the protagonist having great mutual respect for the head honcho, eventually coming to blows. Other than that, it's a very different style of action. It's not averse to having humor, wonderful acting from the cast with the standouts being John Do-yeon as the titular BOKSOON, who is wonderful, as well as the adorably psychotic Cha Min-hee, played by Essam, who... Is it just me, or would she make a decent Ada Wong? How's her English? About the only issue I want to have is how tediously annoying the daughter can be, mostly conducting herself as your prototypical angsty teen girl. But I think that's just the story. It's not the best action movie on the market, and it does get a little confusing on how exactly this assassin's organization works. But it does subvert a lot of narrative expectations, so it's definitely worth checking out if you're an action junkie. If you're subscribed to Netflix, check it out. My honest rating for Kill BOKSOON, a strong 4 out of 5. Set in World War II, circa 1944, a retired Finnish commander finds gold. A company of Nazis come around and try to take his gold. Not about to let that happen, he fights back and carnage ensues. I like the Nazi deaths. Few things in life are more gratifying than seeing old men that are still dangerous. A story about killing Nazis is already a story that anyone can get behind, but the fundamental presentation is nothing short of harrowing and downright awesome. Despite having no lines, star Jorma Tommila is as grizzled as they come. Quick thinking, inventive, straight up lucky at times. Nearly every action scene starts with one question. How is he gonna get out of this one? Or my personal favorite toward the end of the flick, what in blazes was the plan, dude? And admittedly, some of it is a load of crap. But for the most part, it never ceases to surprise me. The minefield scene, the lake scene, how Tommila survives getting hanged, and so many others leave a special mark on your mind. Not a single death is squandered and leaves you hugging your knees and in my case, laughing maniacally and ends very satisfyingly. Oh yeah, this is definitely one of the best action films of the year, and that's saying a lot because there's been some pretty good action flicks so far. Highly recommend it if you haven't seen it yet. My honest rating for SISU, a 5 out of 5.
The general said, and I quote, "He's one mean motherfucker that you do not want to mess with."
John Wick is once again being hunted by the High Table, this time by their personal lapdog, Pennywise. In order to bargain for his freedom, John must challenge this dude to a one-on-one old-fashioned duel. You truly can't go wrong with this franchise. The swan song to Baba Yaga is a fantastic end to an otherwise near-perfect action series. The only things I didn't like was the beginning. John riding through the desert to kill the Elder. We've seen horseback shootouts before and done better. The desert setting doesn't make it that different. And maybe Shamir Anderson as the tracker was an unnecessary character, but that's it. And everything after is pure Wick. From the action scenes in the Tokyo Continental with Hiroyuki Sanada leading the charge, to the club scene where John fights an unrecognizable Scott Adkins in a fat suit, to the Arc de Triomphe and everyone getting hit by cars, to the huge stairway, each scene keeps you hooked and salivating for more. Donnie Yen is a welcomed addition, playing a blind assassin, and definitely commands the screen when he gets the spotlight. Clancy Brown, always a class act to put in your movie. Lance Reddick, too soon. Hollywood will never be the same. It's John Wick! What more needs to be said? Something about Ana de Armas having a spin-off of the series? Ish, I don't know how to feel about that one. What's the John Wick universe without Keanu? We'll inevitably see, I guess, but as for this one, highly recommended. My honest rating for John Wick Chapter 4, a strong 4 out of 5.
A man has to look his best when it's time to get married. Or buried.
I'm going to need a gun.
Leslie Akavan, DDS, Ohio. Great veneers, but nice try, IHOP. Fabric Trough Sweater Outlet, Newburgh, New York. That's not a pancake. My mistake, Fabric Trough Sweater Outlet.
Gerard Butler, in his sexy Scottish accent, crash lands his plane on an island inhabited by lawless brown dudes. He and Luke Cage grab some machine guns and kick some ass. Thank God, a nice, wholesome action movie. Just what I need right now. In a sea of movies that push certain agendas, it's just nice to be able to watch something that's just unabashedly entertaining. Butler is one of my favorite actors. He's just such a charismatic and swell guy who looks good shooting a gun and throwing a punch. So to see him in his element doing what he does best is nothing short of entertaining. Yeah, okay, the fact that this mild-mannered airplane pilot just so happens to have combat experience does set itself up on the nose. And most of the side characters are throwaway fodder, with the notable exception of Daniela Pineda. Oh no, poor girl had to play a nice character that wasn't some girl boss action heroine that saves the day. Oh, the humanity! The action scenes aren't anything to write home about, especially the first one where Gerard and the nameless dude are just holding each other's faces like a violent rom-com. But as soon as you bring a 50 caliber sniper rifle into the mix, you have me. Just take me to the bed and have your way with me. The villains aren't anything special, but I can't pretend that matters much when two very talented beefcake action heroes are kicking the tar out of said bad guys. If you're forgiving of popcorn action flicks and enjoy the talents of either Gerard Butler or Mike Coulter, then you're in for a good time. I certainly recommend this over most action flicks these days. My honest rating for Plane, a 4 out of 5.
I don't know how much got through, and I'm not waiting here to find out. But my passengers are my responsibility.
J-Lo is an assassin who gave up her daughter to protect her from her evil maybe baby daddies. 12 years later, the bad guys find and kidnap the daughter, and J-Lo kicks ass to save her. It's better than Shotgun Wedding, though that's not really saying much. It's aight, but coming off the heels of Kill BOKSOON, this is a noticeable downgrade. J-Lo was certainly trying to make the character work, and in some ways succeeded. The young actress playing her daughter was arguably the best part of the movie. Yes, she complained a lot, but considering her character is supposed to be 12, it makes sense. Eventually, she grew on me. What's annoying about this flick is how contrived a lot of it feels. The FBI is supposed to keep the daughter's identity a secret, so how did the bad guys find her? Because the movie needs to happen. How did the daughter seemingly know J-Lo was her mom right away? Because forced drama, that's why. In the beginning, she wanted her daughter to live the most boring life imaginable, but then starts teaching her how to fire guns, to hunt animals, and straight up how to kill people. Well after she's already been kidnapped and witnessed death and murder. Even right down to the structure of how J-Lo deals with her maybe baby daddies feels like a checklist of, okay, took care of this daddy, now on to the next one, almost in tandem. The action is bland, way too many quick cuts, and an ending that feels way too happy for the grizzled tone it was going for. It's as generic gets. If you're a J-Lo fan, I guess you'll be fine. But if you're an action junkie and you were actually looking for an action flick that was good, this ain't it, chief. My honest rating for The Mother, a weak 3 out of 5.
Zoe,
answers are tough. So?
This Thai film follows Aoi, a young and poor woman who is running her family noodle shop. Her talents are discovered and is recruited into working for an intense, no-nonsense, famous chef. Think of it as The Menu meets Whiplash, I think. I've actually never seen Whiplash. But this was a fantastic flick. Disturbing, almost to the point of having a horror edge to it, gripping. It's just an all-around fantastic film. The film's lead, dear God, I'm gonna butcher this into oblivion, Chutaman Chongcharwen Suking, delivers a wonderful performance, matched only by her co-star, Nopachai Chayanam, who plays Chef Paul, the Thai chef Ramsay. He obviously steals the show as he gives everyone death stares, slapping people, and having pretty twisted motivations for the things he does. The exploration of what it means to be unique and how far is too far to achieve those goals are wonderfully explored. The only complaint I have is the eventual turn for Aoi's character in that she breaks away from Chef Paul to go solo with her own restaurant. The pacing here suddenly goes from a slow methodical burn to bullet train. Basically, it's a few minutes of her descending into becoming what she hates to eventually learn that enough is enough. I love this movie. It ain't perfect, but its shortcomings are not enough for me to not recommend it. If you have Netflix and don't mind foreign films, then I highly recommend you check this out. My honest rating for Hunger, a strong 4 out of 5.
ข้ออ้างสำหรับคนที่ดิ้นออกจากความจนไม่ได้ต่างหากสำหรับฉันไม่มีหรอกอาหารที่ทำด้วยความรัก
Based on true events, Keira Knightley and Carrie Coon are investigative journalists, Loretta McLaughlin and Jean Cole respectively, who broke the case of the infamous 1960s Boston Strangler case. I'm certainly annoyed at some of the changes, but this is, from what I can gather, an accurate recount of the events that happened at the time. It's a slow burn, but the acting does help. Some reviewers are calling this Girl Boss Zodiac. I don't agree with that. The focus is on these two women who did have a huge impact on the case, and I think that's unfair. Yes, some important players were left out and should have had a more prominent role, but short of this being a docuseries, corners were definitely cut. Despite its modest near 2-hour length, it does feel longer than that, but I don't mean that in a negative sense this time. I felt invested in the journey of these two women and how every lead led to another question or even a dead end. It takes its time, but it's gripping. Knightley and Coon obviously carry the film very well, and it's always awesome to see the likes of Chris Cooper and Alessandro Nivola. There are weaknesses, however. David Dastmalchian is criminally underutilized and barely does anything. There are scenes that I feel like could have been cut, especially Loretta's home life, to keep the focus on her investigations. To call this a feminist flick feels disingenuous. I feel like the focus is exactly where it needs to be, on these two characters and how they helped break the case of the Boston Strangler case. It's not the most standout flick of the year, but it is otherwise compelling. I recommend it. My honest rating for Boston Strangler, a 4 out of 5.
You getting hang-ups on the heavy breathers?
Yeah. They called you too?
Nope. We enlisted our number years ago, after I covered my first mayor's race.
Storm Reed's mother goes missing when she's on vacation with her boyfriend Ken Lung. However, as she helps investigate, the more answers she finds, the deeper the mystery goes. Not freaking bad. Not sure if Searching is the better film, but this was a damn fine thriller. Searching was great. If you haven't seen it, highly recommended. Similar to that film, the filmmakers knew how to keep the visuals creative and diverse, so nothing feels stagnant and repetitive. What I found particularly praiseworthy is the tactical use of live footage of Reed and she giving arguably her best performance, and when to just let the on-screen cursor and video footage to play. The strategic manner of showing important information and letting the audience react naturally. My gripes include certain plot points being underdeveloped and being left mostly unresolved or resolved in a relatively rushed manner that doesn't leave a memorable impact. And certainly some moments that you'd think would play into the plot more turn out to be just not as important as they seemed. Not gonna lie, I thought Searching was gonna start this new wave of live footage movies, but thankfully has just been restricted to these two, and those god-awful Skype horror movies from a few years back. If filmmakers are taking their time in dishing out these types of movies, then perfect. The two that we have right now are really good. As it stands, this is an underrated spiritual successor to Searching, and I highly recommend it. My honest rating for Missing, a 4 out of 5.
I said something about money, but what if these people hurt her?
They have no reason to.
I've already lost one parent, Hobby. I can't lose her too.
Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. Stay safe and healthy out there. Hope to see you soon.